Running it back to the back to the back to the bank today. Running it back to the back to the back to the bank today. Running it back to the back to the back to the bank today. Running it back to the back to the back to the back to the back. Running it back to the bank today. Baby, I feel it relaxed today. Gotta go try to relax today. Whoa, whoa. Gotta fill out all my apps today. Cry from my
Shayla.
Are we ready? My bad, y'all. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the DMV Vibes podcast. I am Fearless Swagger. As y'all can see, I'm up here missing my counterpart, Miss Pink, because she is working behind the scenes today. So let me just go get right into the show. Let me introduce you to my guest. I'm going to allow my guest to introduce himself. And, sir, you are...
Michael Brown.
And this is Michael Brown, known for, he's a personal trainer. I don't know if y'all want the backstory about why he on the show, how I met him at the gym. He's very loud.
Ooh.
Very, very loud. And he also is a Cowboys fan, so, shout out to those Cowboys. So, Mr. Michael T. Brown, tell us a little bit about who you are.
I am a DC native. I am from Northwest DC. I went to DC public schools until I went to Carroll High School, 4300 Harewood Road Northeast, the Mighty Lions. And I went there for sports, I guess in a better education, because at that time, DCPS education was great still. And from there, I went on to play basketball in college and became a trainer. I'm a dad. I'm a hell of a guy. What you got?
Not you're a hell of a guy.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, ladies, I think he out here letting y'all know that he's a hell of a guy.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying? All those great things. All right, so let's talk about what it's like, what it was like being an athlete, like growing up in this area.
Very competitive. But it was in a positive way. I mean, every neighborhood had their athlete, and we moved around. I mean, I was from uptown, but we went to Southeast and played. We went to Northeast and played. We went to Maryland and played, and Virginia, playing in different neighborhoods. School pride meant something. If you played for your school, like you really wanted to win for your school. So it was an awesome experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world. And sports kept a lot of us, including myself, out of trouble.
So do you feel like that's what's kind of missing now? Like within the sports in this area, like I know we still have like AAUs and all of that, but I just as a teacher that works in DCPS, and I just see like it doesn't feel like it used to be like growing up. Like people really took pride in playing for their schools and stuff like that. I don't know. It could be just because I work in the middle school part, but it just doesn't like feel that way. So do you feel like that element is kind of missing?
Yeah, because I think there's so many options. I mean, with most of these kids don't even play for their school. Like they play for AAU or some club team or something like that. I mean, we had AAU obviously, but like you worried about AAU after the season. It meant something to win for your school. And that didn't matter if you were in elementary, middle, or high school. Like it really meant something to win for your school. It was real bragging rights. I mean, I got friends that graduated from Dunbar. We lost to Dunbar in '93 in the city title game. So 32 years ago, they still don't let me live it down. Yeah. So like that means something. It really means something. So I don't know. It's just different. I mean, the kids have such global access with the internet and social media. I don't think they think in terms of a zip code anymore. Like it meant something to be the best team in this area where they sit there like, well, it doesn't matter because we can go be the best team over here or go play over here or be seen by millions of people with just somebody using their phone. So I think that took away from some of the homegrown pride.
Okay, so I don't think he mentioned this when he was introducing himself, but in the bio that he sent us, he talked about playing semi-pro. So can you talk about your transition after college going into semi-pro?
It was hard. I mean, I always wanted to just be a professional basketball player and take care of my parents.
Oh, no, NBA player.
Yeah, I love playing basketball. I loved like I was always dribbling at basketball. I fell in love with the sport. Michael Jordan, my favorite. You have my two favorite players in that picture over there. Michael Jordan, one, then Kobe Bryant. And, all I wanted to do was do that and be able to, like I said, take care of my parents. And the transition it was hard. I mean, because having to leave home and having to, just dedicate even more of your life because now you're trying to do it for a check, so you have to cut off even more fun. Like I had to sacrifice a lot of fun in college, but then you had to cut off even more fun. You had to be locked in. I couldn't do certain things that some of my friends were doing because of the goal I was trying to attain. And I didn't get there, but I still had a great time. I've been pretty much all over this world because of a basketball. So I have no regrets.
Okay, so I'm glad you mentioned something about having to like cut certain things off and you couldn't do what your friends was doing. So this makes us think about the NIL deals. So do you think they help or they like hinder college athletes?
I think they help. Let's see. I graduated from college in '98, and they had a.
Sheesh, I was 10 years old.
Thank you. It was a, gosh, was it NCAA basketball? It was like Madden, but it was NCAA basketball. And I remember I got the game, and I was playing with my college. Shout out to Mount St. Mary's University. They just won the MAC tournament last night. So that is 6 chips in 30 years, and I was part of the first one 30 years ago. But I was playing, and like you could create players and everything, but I just was playing with the team, and I was jersey number 23 in college, and the guy was light skinned, real short haircut, number 23, and it's like, wow, like technically that's me, and we couldn't get a dime off of that. Like we couldn't get a dime, and thanks to the O'Bannon brothers that played at UCLA that made that big fuss all those years ago about getting paid for your likeness. I think the kids should. I mean, let's just be honest. The kids generate millions and millions of dollars for these schools. They do. Now, I think that there needs to be parameters because if you empower a child and the child looks at the coach like, well, I make as much as you or more than you with this deal, they're still children. So, I think we take away the aspect of them just being able to be children playing the sport, being student athletes. I'm all for them learning how to be business men and women at a young age, but I still think that it's taken away a little bit of the innocence that was there.
Okay, I can see that. All right, so we just about to ramble on with these questions. This is me getting to see a different side of Michael. Because Michael is a goofball.
Don't be
corny. I'm not corny. Because I'm calling you Michael.
This is the way you say.
So this goes to show that he don't really know me, and my co-host is shaking her head. So yeah, you about to get to know because that wasn't corny. That was sarcasm.
I know.
All right. Anyway,
you were corny with it.
I don't care. Anyway, so how hard was your transition from the court to like your next chapter in life?
Oh man, I probably dealt with my first conscious bout of depression. Like being an athlete from like since the age of 5, I'm trained to go. I'm trained for this. It's off season, in season. This is it. Practice games. And when the ball stopped bouncing, you're just trying to figure out, what do I do next? Do I really know how to do anything? Yes, I had a degree. I had a degree in communications, but it was like, well, what do I do with this? Because I know how to be a basketball player. So it took a while. It took a lot of different jobs I was trying after I stopped playing ball. I worked in construction. I was working at the Boys and Girls Club, but I fell on education. And really, I fell on education because I knew that we had the summers off, and I was like, well, I could do this. And then in the summertime, I could train and see if I could get it back together and try to go back and play ball again. That did not happen. And I just fell in love with working with children. And almost 26 years later, I'm still a teacher. So it was hard, but it was where God wanted me to be. I realized that every day that I was supposed to be where I am.
Okay, 26 years though.
Technically, yeah. I started in '99. My first educational job was in 1999.
Sheesh, I'm not even trying to do it next year.
It
You
was
know,
different then.
shout out to the teachers, man, because life be lifing and these students be studenting. That's not a word,
Ooh,
but
that's brutal.
and we're both English teachers, by the way, guys. Yay! Shout out to ELA. So what is like? Okay, now this is the teacher question. What is
Absolutely.
your most memorable student in 26 years? I know it's a lot of kids.
Donald Crawford.
Dang, whole government name.
Donald Crawford. that is, he's not just a former student. I really consider him like a son. Not only was I one of his teachers, but when I went back to the school that I taught him at, he was working there as a dean, and he is an amazing young man. He is a father of 2 wonderful boys. He's in a relationship with a young lady that's a teacher, and Donald has just made me so proud. I mean, Donald has had really his share of struggles. And he's coming out of the Mayfair neighborhood in Northeast, so he's seen it. But seeing that young man and who he is, and seeing how he used to just be a little pouty boy that didn't want to follow anybody's directions, but he is just an amazing young man. He makes me proud of him all the time. We're always in constant contact. I consider his sons like my grandsons. So
oh, Papa.
Yeah, that's what I am. So he's it. He gives me a reason to keep doing this a little longer.
See, it's the little things in life that keep us going in education, because it's always going to be, we all got at least one student success story. I have one. Oh, shout out to Jalen. It's my baby. So when it comes down to your personal training, what made you want to become, well, you kind of touched on that briefly when you talked about it kind of worked out with you being a teacher, but like what really made you come as a personal trainer?
I can sum it up really quickly. So I was playing rec ball, playing with my friends. I was playing at run and shoot. I really was not taking care of my body. I really went to the whole other side of being an athlete. So I was a dad by then. I was married, but playing ball on the weekends and stuff like that. And I was up at run and shoot. I was probably like 280 some pounds. I went up to dunk a basketball. I went up, and then I realized I was going back down. I had tore my whole patella tendon. I never had a major injury my whole career. So I wasn't on social media then. So in my recovery, because it took about 18 months to fully get my leg back, got on Facebook because I was bored. I'm sitting in the house bored. I'm like, well, what do I do? Got on there, saw some people from high school that had become personal trainers. One was an athlete, one was just a wonderful young lady, but I would have never thought she would have became a personal trainer. So I started inboxing them and, getting their number and just telling them what was going on with me. And I started working out in my house, and I lived in Upper Marlboro at the time. So I was on crutches, and I would drive at 4 a.m, no matter what the weather was, with my crutches or my cane to PG Community College track, and I walked. And I walked with the crutches, walked with the cane, and then I was lifting weights in my house, and then I just fell in love with it. And then I just saw how I got that feeling back from when I was an athlete. And people started noticing my body change and was asking me what I was doing. And I just started to really engulf myself in the education of becoming a trainer. I really didn't think I was going to be one. And then I just started training people unofficially. And then a buddy of mine in the Bio Fitness Motivators, his name's Paul Atkins. He had been a personal trainer for a while. He was like, why don't you come work with me? And I went and trained there for about 2 years. He's one of the best in this area. And I really learned. And so then, like I said, Hoops and Health was born because I was still trying to stay in touch with basketball. So I was training people for basketball. And I was training a couple of people as a personal trainer. But then I just decided I had to pick. So basketball, I just kind of didn't have the time because it was just all over the place. So then I just concentrated on personal training, and I loved it. I've been personal training now probably about almost 17 years. And it's just been one of the most fulfilling things. It's been the closest feeling to being a athlete. You know, I really get a real sense of fulfillment seeing people change their lives. And it's not just about what they look like. You know, when you have a client just text me and just say, hey, I bought this dress a couple of years ago and I was scared to wear it, and now I'm gonna wear it. You know, or, you know, I drove past Popeyes and I didn't stop. You know, just those things, you know, those little things, they mean a lot to you when you see somebody transform. Because I remember what it was like. I remember what it was like to look at myself in the mirror and just go like, what the hell has happened to me? You know, and so anybody that I can help, I love it. You know, and you can catch me at www.legacytrainme.com if you want to talk to me. And I'd love to help you get healthy. Shameless plug, but you know, it's what we do.
It's not shameless because
Not at all,
we
right?
gonna ask all
Right,
that
there we go.
anyway. Yeah,
Right, yeah, you know.
that's what we here for.
Mhm.
So I was giving a question that I do have is, how did you come up with the name Legacy Training?
I have a tattoo of my son's, and above it, the gentleman that was doing my tattoo, I had my son's. It's my son's in a sun, and I was like, it needs something. I was like, I just want to kind of give it a title, and he was like, well, what do you feel about your sons? And I was just like, they're my resurrection and they're my legacy. Boom, that's my tat. And I'm still working under the moniker of Hoops and Health at the time. And then just one day, I got out the shower and I was looking at my tattoo and I was like, rebrand. Because I was like, this is what this is for. This is what this is for. I want my legacy to be someone that served. And, you know, later on, I realized that that was biblical, you know, being of service. So that's really how the name came.
This is a great segue.
Absolutely.
It is. So, Michael has been on a spiritual journey, and I have been watching this on and off social media. It's been interesting to watch, but I'm proud of his growth. Yes, he gets on my nerves 85% of the time, but I definitely can see the growth in him spiritually. So I just want you to kind of touch on what made you start this spiritual journey again, or start down this path that you're on now.
Well, I was raised in the church.
Hallelujah.
Shout out to Israel CME Church in Northwest. I was raised a Methodist, and so I was in the choir, the usher board, all that kind of stuff. And you know, as life went on, you start trying to develop your own ideologies about religion or spirituality. I mean, I went to a Catholic high school and a Catholic college, so you're getting all of these things. And then the more I started to travel around the world, you get to hear these different views on it. And I knew I got away from it. And I think last year, it was like I just had a series of unfortunate events and just things that just rocked me to my core. And you know, my pastor always says, "Find God before He finds you." And so, unfortunately, I did it in reverse. So He found me, and He found me prostrate in every way, just laying on my face basically, because I was just down. I was down. I felt like nothing was working. I felt like I was failing as a father, a businessman. I was fed up with the educational system. So I just felt like life was just terrible. I felt like I lost everything that was important to me. And it was just one of those things where it was like, well, why don't you try God now? Why don't you try God? Because you kept trying yourself, and look at how that worked out for you. And just the more I got to really embrace it, get back into the word, started listening to different pastors. I don't get so caught up in all of the social media pastors, because it's a million of them. Everybody's on there giving a quote and saying stuff. You have to filter through it, but just really praying on the messages I was hearing, and I was watching how I received them and how it was so transformative when I put it into practice. It's a pastor that I follow named Stephen Furtick, and he says the word of God is like a can of paint. The power is in the application. So it was one of those things where I sat there and was like, here it is right here. What am I going to do with it? So when I started reading it, started doing stuff, I started seeing little by little things changing, my mood changing, uh, my strength changing. Remember where I got my help from. I have no problem being transparent and saying that I still battle depression and anxiety. I have to take medication for it. And what I noticed was when I got more and more into the word, those attacks that I had weren't coming as frequently. And matter of fact, sometimes if I haven't taken my medicine, it doesn't matter, because I take my medicine every morning when I read the word and I pray. And I just started feeling all of this shift. I started feeling I could see the fruits of it, a better relationship with my sons. Businesses started flourishing. My different interests started flourishing. And I did. My health got better. So once you see it, it's one of those things where it's like with fitness. Once you see the results, you become addicted to it. So once you see what God does for you, it's like that's the only thing you need to be addicted to.
Just so y'all know, remember I told y'all I make sure that I try to pour into people on a daily basis. He is one of the recipients
Yes,
of
Lord.
my messages. He also sends me messages back. So he's one of the people that's in my village, even though he gets on my nerves 85% of the
I'm
time.
just going to keep highlighting that.
I am.
That doesn't sound godly.
What do you
It
mean?
doesn't.
Tell the truth and shame the devil. That's what they say.
Maybe 5% I get on your nerves. Maybe 5.
I don't think it's that low.
I think it's 5.
I don't think it's. Anywho, so I think when it comes to going through a spiritual journey, like I feel like we all, not for speaking for myself and some of my friends, like when you start a spiritual journey, sometimes it's difficult because there are so many different things that are being pulled or being said to you, thrown at you. And I think sometimes people really don't understand it, because then they look at you like, oh, you're not doing this no more, so why you changing up, why you switching, but they don't really understand what you're dealing with internally when you're going through that spiritual awakening, that spiritual journey. And I have friends who have recently just started their spiritual journeys, and I think it's so cute because I love it for them, because I'm so excited to see the growth and how they transition from one part of their life to the next. So in the midst of this journey, like how have you like really dealt with some of like your toughest battles? Like that it's something that's coming up against you, like when you feel like it may be a spiritual attack or something like that. Like how do you cope with that?
The size of the devil at your door is an indication of the size of your blessing. So what I've learned is the bigger the attack, I know that God is preparing me for something. He's sifting me, he's pruning me. You liken it to David and Goliath. I mean, everybody else was scared of Goliath, and this little boy with 5 smooth stones went and whooped him. So you have to just look at it and understand that there is a blessing in everything. You're told that you say, this is the day that the Lord has made, I will rejoice and be glad in it. So it doesn't matter what the day was, you're still supposed to rejoice and be glad in it. So even if it is just an all around rough day, you still rejoice. And I think that's something that gets lost. I don't think people have bad days. I don't believe in that. The only way you have a bad day to me is if like someone passes. We have bad moments, and the part of the mortal coil is we take that moment and drag it all day. And if you get in a car accident at 8:30 in the morning and you're fine, you call the insurance, get your rental car and everything, go about your day. People, oh, I had a bad day, I had a car accident. Okay, you're all right. You're all right. You had a car accident at 8:30 in the morning, but you're okay. Not I had a bad day. So you didn't have a car accidents all day long. You had one bad moment. So when you really lean on God, you don't sit there and think about it. You know that it's going to all work out for you. I don't even want to be cliche with, all things work together for good, but I'm really learned that. Some of the worst things that happened to me last year, I am seeing right now where it was like, oh yeah, I had to do that for you. I had to make you uncomfortable so you could move. And if you didn't move, you might have been right there, and the blessing that you had was going to be delayed. So when you look at it from that perspective, you're able to just push forward.
Delayed but not denied.
Most of the time, you're not delayed.
Yes.
Yeah, most of the time he's just telling you not yet.
Okay, so that's still delayed if it's not yet.
No, I said not denied. I was saying like it's not.
Okay.
Most of the time, you're not really denied. You're just not yet. Or he gives you back 7 times more than what you lost. So were you really denied? If you got what you lost plus 7 times, it's like, oh, it's not even a denial. It's like, oh, bet.
Yeah, because then you don't really miss. You don't miss what you lost at all.
Yeah, that's more than a hookup.
Holla if you hear me. I just lost my train of thought. I really did.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. My bad. All right. So how do you reset? Like, just to stay focused within your journey. Like, what is in a point where it's like to yourself, it's like, all right, I gotta reset. Like, how do you reset? Because there are things that will throw us off kilter. So, like, how do you get back to being in that center?
I'm triggered to pray. The word triggered has become such a bad word, but it's really not. I become triggered to pray. When things happen, when I feel attacks coming at me, I'm triggered to pray. And I start feeling my anxiety go back down. Or I'll just go read a scripture, or I'll go on the Bible app and let it just read something to me. It has different videos on it of people, saying things. And I'll just do that. And it normally just puts it into perspective. Or sometimes I just go somewhere and get quiet. And I never really realized that my grandmother, God rest her soul, would just tell us that. She would say, go somewhere and get still.
Yes.
And I was like, Grandma, I don't want to do that. When you're a child, you don't want to do that. But now at 48, I really relish the time where I just go get still. No noise, no phone, no nothing, just silence. And then you hear whatever he's got to say. And that's how I normally reset. Sometimes when I'm at work, I just walk outside the building and take a walk around the neighborhood, or just stand outside, let the breeze hit me.
See, at work, I'll be wanting to reset by getting in my car, driving off.
Well, I don't have that luxury either. So,
I don't either. So that's why I can't go outside to reset.
Sometimes it's a great thing. Well, even if you walk the building, I've walked my building. I teach
middle school. I'm not walking that building.
Oh well, I teach the babies.
So not walking that building because it's not peaceful.
I dig it.
And they always calling my name.
Yeah.
It's been times where I have driven home in silence because I just can't take it.
Had a lot of those nights.
Definitely. The older I get, the more overly stimulated I am by a bunch of noise. I do not like unnecessary noise. So when you talk about get somewhere and get still, yes, I will find somewhere real quick to sit down and be quiet.
We also have those kind of jobs. I mean, like you said, when you're a teacher, it's someone, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, whether it's a child or an adult, or it's a parent, or it's somebody needs something in the school.
How do you balance? I know you say you walk, but how do you balance the personal training life, the teacher life, the dad life, the social life? He really an old man, y'all. But how do you
keep it up? I told you, it's all right.
But how do you balance all that?
I'm better at it now. I was not. As I said, I felt last year my relationship with my kids suffered. And I was just trying to do what I was taught to do as a Black man by my dad and my grandfather, which is provide. So it's just work, just go work. But then you start to remember your children don't really care about that. They care about those moments. Mm-hmm. So it was just putting things in perspective of just saying, even if I don't have $1 to my name, just sitting with my boys is amazing. Let's just watch this movie. Let's just talk. We developed a group text, me and my sons, and we just started texting each other. And we love Marvel movies. So, hey, when is this next one coming out?
Me too.
What are we going to do? And what I've done was I started to take time for myself. I always said, oh, well, my me time is the gym. but that can't be because that is kind of attached to my
I
job.
was about to say you working, so how's that
Yeah.
your me time?
I mean, I'm talking about my personal workouts,
Oh.
but I dig it. But I
He a little bougie. He gotta go to a different gym to do his personal
absolutely,
workout.
absolutely. But you know, I've started to do things on my own. I used to wait for my friends to go do stuff, but now I do a lot of things on my own. I just get up and go. I don't ask anybody
I love that
where they
for
want to go.
you.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you do.
I do.
But you know, just doing that, and that's brought a lot of I don't want to say balance because I think that word balance is overrated.
So would you say it's more peace versus because
It's more compartmentalization. It's positive compartmentalization.
positive compartmentalization?
Absolutely. I'm a teacher at all times.
I'm gonna ask my therapist about that one.
Okay.
Do you go to therapy?
Yes, absolutely. Love
Yes.
it. Love it. Helped
I just,
change my life.
for the record, I want y'all to understand that this is the 4th Black man that we've had on this show that has been an advocate for therapy. So Black men, please go to therapy. It don't no matter who, what, where, like, please go talk to the lady. Y'all know that's my thing. Talk to the lady. And I'm really, really excited to hear Black men talk about therapy and advocate for themselves to go talk to somebody. So how has therapy changed you along with your spiritual journey? Because I say every time it's Jesus and my therapist. So how has the therapy component helped you in your journey?
It's so relationships are a mirror. That's why a lot of relationships fail because when you have a relationship with somebody, you are pretty much confronted with yourself. Once the honeymoon period goes by, you're confronted with yourself. So that's really what you develop with your therapist. And so when the therapist puts it right there on Front Street, that therapist is non-biased. That therapist doesn't know you from Adam. They just know by what you're saying, the different activities that you do with them, and you just get hit with it, and you have to sit with all of your stuff. It's cathartic, and you get that opportunity to just go through it. And you can't heal what you don't reveal. So you have to go through it. You have to look at all your mess. You have to, as I said, I'm 48. I had to go look at stuff that was happening in my life when I was 5. I had to go look at things that were happening when I was 10, when I was 15, 20, or the death of my grandmother in 91, seeing how profound that was. My grandmother, my parents are still alive and married and all that good stuff. But my grandma, like I was her baby. And so her passing was really, really hard on me. It was really hard on me. I didn't know. She was like my biggest cheerleader. So I felt abandoned. I had to go find out I had abandonment issues. You know, people think that abandonment issues are only if, oh, well, you didn't know your daddy or you didn't know your mom. You can have both your parents. You can have a loving family and still have abandonment issues. So I had to find those things out. I had to find out what my attachment issues were. Why am I the way I am in relationships? Why am I the way I am when it comes to being consistent? So that's what therapy has done for me. So my pastor always likes to tell us it's not Jesus and therapy, it's Jesus, and then he gives you therapy. So I'm not negating what you're saying, but that was the biggest thing. I had therapy, but then once I found, really got connected to God, I was sitting there going like, wow, I can see how what I'm reading here is manifesting through how she's talking to me, how the therapist is talking to me. You start seeing where it's in alignment, and you just have a quantum leap of progress.
Shout out to my therapist.
Absolutely.
Because my therapist is keeping me hinged. And definitely I'm such a big advocate for therapy. I've talked about my therapy journey myself.
Mhm.
Very open, very honest. But now you got me thinking, because now I'm about to ask her about my can we talk about my attachment styles and relationships?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I already realized that I had some issues when it comes to the father. And so that's why I'm a big advocate for therapy, because I also realized that people that come from two-parent households still have a lot of trauma.
Absolutely.
Even though both our parents were there,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
still suffer with our own issues when it comes to that. So another question.
Hmm.
What do you want your legacy to be?
He served. He served.
I feel like you told me this before.
He's. I think we did have this conversation.
Mhm.
He served. He came and he tried. I don't use the word try anymore. I do not use that word. That word is demonic. So
Not demonic.
it's demonic. It's God gives us the spirit of execution, not try. So if it's not his spirit, then it's the other spirit. So he came and he served. He made the world better than the way he found it. And if I can be remembered that way, I've done my job.
That's a good one right there. But I feel like you said that. But
Then
okay.
stop
So
talking to me before we
no,
don't talk to me no more.
y'all, this is what I go through every other day in the gym because he's really a jerk. Anywho, so if you could go back into your let's say how old are you now? Your 25-year-old self.
Praise God.
If you can give your 25-year-old self some advice, seeing as though where you are now, what would you have told yourself at 25 versus where you are now?
No matter what it looked like, or no matter what it looks like, do not give up on your dreams. That'd be that's it. Because what I thought at 25 was, okay, this is my life now. This is what it is. Mm-hmm. And so what I did was put myself in a box. So a lot of the things that I worked for and the things that I was able to do, I kind of put them away just so I could fit into one certain type of box. And I would tell that young man, don't do that, because you're still going to be okay. And your people are your people, and they'll understand that you can't be in this box. And if they don't, then they're not your people. Then they're not. Like, I don't ever want to put a seal on people. Like, who says you can't be that? Who says you can't do that or go here or live this kind of way? You can. I'm not going to tell you, because if you got kids or you're married or you live in this place, you can't do this. Yes, you can. But unfortunately, I put myself here, and all I saw was I was trying to fight that box, and it created so much turmoil in my life, and ultimately it created turmoil in me, and it I was depressed and didn't know.
Do you feel like you putting yourself in that box? Do you feel like it was you, or it was like you listening to what people saying to you, like what you can and can't do? Like, it wasn't just you per se, because I feel like when we think about like us putting ourselves in a box, like sometimes we do, but then we listen to what everybody else is saying outside of that, and so that's what we put ourselves in more of a box.
Oh, absolutely. You had parents, family members, friends. As life was moving on at that time, oh, well, you got to do this now, or you can't do this. I was getting married, I was getting ready to become a father, all of that kind of stuff. And, well, you can't do this because you got to just focus on this, or you got to go to work and you got to do this. And I keep referring to my pastor, Bishop Foreman of Harvest Church. He says all the time, you were not put on this earth to pay bills, have babies, and die. And I wish I would have really had that.
Have babies.
Yeah, I wish I would have had that revelation at 25 to realize that the best thing that I could do was continue to find out who I was. And I think what I did was I let myself go in that box, but I didn't realize how much of myself I didn't know. And who I was still growing, and he was going to get out. He was going to get out one way or another. And unfortunately, he would manifest his way in some bad ways, sometimes some good ways, caused a lot of friction, made some stupid decisions in those times. But that would have been the best thing is, hey, you don't even know yourself yet. You know, 25 is young. 25 is extremely young. So, you know, that would be it. Just don't let someone tell you what you are. Find out for yourself and let God tell you. Every day I pray, God, tell me my name, tell me my purpose, and tell me my strategy, and then I will execute. And when I say tell me my name, like your name can change. Your name can change from the standpoint of, okay, if I'm a dad now, that's what I am, but that doesn't mean that my name can't be dad and businessman. It doesn't mean that you just have this right here. You're under whatever God tells you you are, that's what you are. And fighting against him is always going to be wrong. Anything that starts with God ends in victory. If it just starts with you, it's going to end in disappointment and defeat.
Well, go on then, Reverend Brown.
There you go.
Look at you giving a word. Where I'm going? Where I'm going?
I don't know.
Where I'm going?
I have no idea.
No, but I definitely agree with that. I feel like me personally, I ain't started thriving until I hit my 30s. And I really feel like 35, I just kind of reached my peak. But I also feel like because I got my mama fighting for me on the other side. Hey girl. So I definitely agree with like not putting yourself in a box. I never been the type to put myself in a box. I don't even think I would fit in anybody's box. You know what I'm saying? Because I be myself in that. Anyway.
Right. And you didn't peak. You don't have a peak. You have a peak when you take your last breath. That's your peak. That is when God has done everything. That's when your job is over. So there's no peak.
I ain't done yet.
Yeah, right. As long as you got a pulse, you got a purpose.
Yes. Breathe.
How about that?
All right, y'all. So I'm gonna do a quick little shout out. It is Women's History Month, guys.
Absolutely.
Happy Women's History Month. Shout out to all the beautiful ladies, all the beautiful women. So quick highlight to a Black woman-owned business. St. James is a modern Caribbean restaurant with Trinidadian roots in Washington, D.C., located at 2017 14th Street Northwest, owned by Janine Prime. She is also the owner of the sister restaurant Kane. Kane is located at 403 H Street Northeast. Kane offers Caribbean street food favorites, so make sure y'all go hit up both of those restaurants for all your Caribbean food needs. Dang, I could go for some oxtails, but we on this financial fast that I've been half doing. Shout out to
you can make them yourself.
My COH fam. I don't cook that.
You could learn.
You gonna teach
Might be
me?
fun.
You gonna teach me?
I don't eat the behind of it. I eat other Caribbean food. Oxtail was just never my thing. It just what it is. It's just that's not my jam.
Behind of an oxtail. Why you had to say it like that?
That's what it is. An oxtail.
You as bad as the people with when you talking about the hand move the chitlins. Well,
I'm just saying. I mean, you just eating the ox's butt.
Well, I just started eating oxtail like 2 years ago because I wasn't eating red meat for a long time.
It's not my thing.
Well,
but they have plenty of. I mean, they have plenty of recipes on social media, on YouTube. I mean, I couldn't. That's something I couldn't teach you how to make because I wouldn't know what to do with it. Not at all.
There are some days and I'm like, oh. I like talking to him.
But I do now. I told you I couldn't do it. I didn't say I wouldn't help you cook something. I just couldn't help you cook that.
Well, obviously, because you don't eat it.
Yeah, so I would help.
I'm glad you're not those people that be like, oh, I'm cooking chitlins, but don't eat chitlins. Because I know a couple of people.
I don't touch that stuff.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Where the good chitlins at? I ain't had no good greens since my mama passed. Because somebody make me some good greens.
Are there good chitlins?
There are.
Are they?
Because my aunties and them used to make some good chitlins. You don't gotta do all that.
Y'all can have it.
Okay, guys. So as y'all all know, we always end our show with words of wisdom. So what do you have for the people? I don't know if I can go behind him because his vocabulary and vernacular is just top tier. So we're gonna see what Reverend Brown got to say. Go
on. Going to read you all a scripture that really transformed my life. It's a very short scripture, so please give me a second. I apologize. It's Colossians 1:6. For little becomes much when you place it in the master's hands. So I guess my biggest words of wisdom is, do all you can and God will provide the increase. A lot of times we sit around waiting for God to do something, and it's actually the opposite. He's waiting for you. So if you start, then he gets busy, but he wants to see what you're going to do. So be active. You're going to fail. You're going to mess up, but be active. You'll learn. Be active. Make sure that you pray on it, but be active. So those would be my words.
Be active and pray on it. That's what we're doing. I just want to make sure.
Forward progress. Forward progress.
Okay.
I mean, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to not do something right. But I think that if you're doing it with God, if you prayed on it and you're like, well, God, I want this to happen. So you prayed on it and you go. And if it's not what's for you, he's going to let you know. But just sitting around being dormant, that's not going to get you anywhere. As I said, we serve a God of execution.
Yes, faith without works is dead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's execution. Execution isn't done by sitting. So you have to go out there and you got to be active. And if it doesn't seem to go the way you plan, you pray on it and God will send you the message. He's going to let you know if that's right or wrong. A big thing is God gives us 3 answers: yes, no, or not yet. And he's going to let you know. Just the problem is we like to tell ourselves which answer he gave you. He could be telling you no, and you're like, no, he said not yet. No, he clearly told you no. Or he clearly told you yes. Or he clearly, if he didn't answer, then it's not yet. So you just keep going.
Okay, thank you for the talking points, Reverend Brown. Okay, So yeah, I'm gonna keep speaking that over your life.
No, please don't.
All right. Well, can you give us your social media, so your Instagram, and how to contact you again? He forgot to mention one of his businesses, but I think he gonna mention it now.
I also work with a wellness store. It is an awesome opportunity to have toxic-free products in your home and toxic-free products to use: soap, toothpaste, lotion, cleaning products. Our stuff is so safe that you don't even have a safety cap. So you could DM me to get that information. But you can find me on Instagram at Legacy PT Inc. And I'll take care of you. You can find me on Facebook. It's Michael Brown. It's a million of them, but you'll see this crazy face right there.
Crazy.
And you can also find me, as I said earlier, at www.legacytrainme.com. That is my personal website. Feel free to email me there or send me an inbox or DM on my social media platforms, and I would love to help you. I love to meet people. I love to talk about how good God has been for me, and I believe that my fitness and wellness journey that I'm on is my ministry. That's how I help. So that's why when she said she was speaking to call me a reverend, I'm like, I don't need to be a reverend, but I just do my ministry this way. A lot of my clients and I, while we're working out, we have some serious philosophical and biblical talks.
While he's throwing paper towels at me.
That sounds like hate, but I don't think that was needed right now, but it's okay. But we have those kind of talks. But please, I would love to talk to you. This young lady is amazing. She's very wise beyond her years. She has definitely been a godsend because she has sent me some messages. Don't screw up the moment. She sent me some, when she'll send me those quotes, they seem to come right on time. So God's timing is always perfect. So I just think this is a great opportunity. So I want to thank you all.
Oh, you're welcome. See, now I gotta be real nice, y'all. Thank you.
Shout out to Miss Pink behind the board.
Thank you. Because I had talked about receiving, allowing ourselves to receive our flowers. So thank you. I appreciate.
That's cultural.
My flowers.
It's cultural. Black folks don't take compliments well.
We don't. I'm working on that. Shout out to my therapist. I don't even know how to go behind it. First of all, let me just say that I actually was inspired by his company name for my young adult ministry. Because I've always talked about legacies amongst my students, and I actually use Kobe Bryant's death as an example when I talk to my kids about leaving a legacy. And so after talking to him, having the very interesting conversation, we do have some really great conversations. I was like, I'm always big on like, what is my legacy? I've asked kids that, so I actually use it with my young adults, with my at church, and we're actually talking about legacies. And our thing is breaking generational curses.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like your legacy also goes along with that, because I feel like everybody in this room right now is breaking a generational curse in some shape, way, or form. So with all that, thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We appreciate you, little light skinned man. All right, I know I can't be serious for too long. My word for this week, remember where you came from. Don't forget. And I think so today my pastor actually talked about that. He actually talked about remembering and being grateful for everything that you've gone through that has brought you thus far in your journey. And I think sometimes we don't take a time to realize and reflect and realize that some of us are really walking in answered prayers. And that was something that I actually sat down with myself earlier last week on Monday, and I was just like, everything that I'm walking into right now, I prayed for, I asked God for, and it may not came exactly when I wanted it to, but I'm seeing it now. And so, but I'm thankful because I know the journey is what got me here. So I would say this week, just be thankful for the journey. Remember where you came from and realize that you may not be exactly where you wanted to be, but you're really walking in your prayers. Like, you're walking in those prayers, whether it is just to be able to get up and see another day. That's a prayer that you're walking in. I'm always thankful for the movement of my limbs, the activity of my limbs, the being able to brush my teeth, and all those little, the tiniest things. I'm always grateful for, because somebody laid down last night with that ability and woke up and couldn't do it. So I just say, be thankful that you are where you are now. Be thankful that you're walking in those answered prayers. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all know this is a little weird without my co-host. It's a little code on the side. Be sure to tune in to us next week, because next week my brothers are gonna be in the building. None other than Big Damo and Mike from the One Band.